In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the massive changes, particularly the rate of change in price on sealed products we're seeing lately. And what this means, because in my eyes, sometimes it can actually be a very bad thing. Sometimes it's good, other times it's bad. And to give you a little bit of context, this whole video is based off this graph on the screen right here. I'm going to show it up for a few seconds while I talk, but we're going to go into some more detail about it. It is all about rate of change. Hey, if you're new here, my name's Michael Pokeoz. We talk all things Pokemon card investing. There are some very loyal channel members and viewers, so thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're new here, please stick around, particularly if you're in the Pokemon investing space. Hopefully we talk some sense on this channel. Right, into it, rate of change. Let's bring this graph back up and get straight into a conversation about the rate of change. Now, I said this can be a good thing and I said this can be a bad thing, but before we delve into what I mean by those two statements, I want to talk you through rate of change and what I mean by that statement when it comes to sealed Pokemon card products. Typically, way back when, like I'm talking pre-COVID era, pre-2020, booster boxes typically came out. They were readily available for quite some time. They would sit around retail price for a couple of years, and then they would slowly, very slowly creep up in value. If we go all the way back to, of course, Wizards of the Coast era, that was the case. Now, look, I was very young at that time and I didn't take a big focus on what prices were doing. When I started taking a focus on what both sealed and singles prices were doing and starting to turn it into a somewhat business concept was around EX era when I was 17 and 18 years old. Now, during that era, what was happening was you could still buy any EX series booster box at retail price years after it released. In fact, it was still on shelves. I'm talking sets like EX Dragon Frontiers, EX Power Keepers, EX Dragon, EX Team Rocket Returns, like you name the set, I could go into my local supermarket or Kmart 2 years afterwards and buy packs for retail price. That was the general rule of thumb. But as it got a little bit older, you weren't being able to buy booster boxes at retail price. Like I'm talking 4 or 5 years after the set came out, they did start to go up in price. It was always a thing. And in fact, the rate of return on sealed booster boxes compared to things like shares wasn't actually that bad. Like if you think about it, if you bought a booster box of EX Team Rocket Returns for $100 and 4 years later it was $150, your rate of return wasn't actually that bad. And even if that happened in 6 years and you gained, 50% on your initial investment, that's not a bad rate of return. But that was always the rule of thumb. Now, some other sets during different hypes performed a little bit differently. If we fast forward to XY era, when XY Evolutions came out during the whole Pokemon Go phase, a lot of people went back to chase things like Flashfire Charizard and even Burning Shadows Charizard. And as a result, some of those booster boxes actually pushed up in price quite quickly, like Burning Shadows and in particular Flashfire jumped to a $300 booster box really quickly. And of course, base set and some of those early booster boxes were starting to creep up in price quite drastically. But then we fast forward to 2020 and the rate of change started to accelerate. What we started to see was the norm for booster boxes to come out was like in a 2 or 3 year period, they would have doubled in price. And that was never the case before. And it was crazy to think that you could double your investment in a very short time period. Now, this rate of change has accelerated even more now. And I wanted to talk through it, and I've touched on this in a couple of other videos, but I've never gone into detail around what it could mean to you as an investor and a collector in this space. And before I do that though, I did want to give a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, which is the Collector app. You can put all your sealed and your singles inside the Collector app. You can constantly troc. There you go. As always, these videos are one take. You can constantly track. I do need to make a bloopers reel. That would be, imagine that. We'll just do an end of year bloopers. Nothing else, no Pokemon investing content, just me making absolute an absolute fool of myself with the worst slip-ups, but you can track all your singles and your sealed. You can track the market data and the movements on price on these. You can put them all into your portfolio and see what your total portfolio is at. You can see set analytics for every single set. It is the one-stop shop for Pokemon investing. It's helped me drastically. So again, link in the description to download that one. So I haven't gone into massive amounts of detail about what this might mean for you as an investor when we talk about rate of change. So during 2020, everything started to change. Again, I mentioned you could pretty much double your investments, and it really started to take off. It started to gain traction as a true investment vehicle, a true physical asset, almost like buying silver or gold, physical silver or gold, or buying collectible pieces of artwork. It really cemented itself, Pokemon, in 2020 as a go-to investment vehicle, fueled by nostalgia, fueled by content creators, fueled by stimulus checks and people sitting at home and having nothing else to do. It was a great throwback to a time when things were easier during a very stressful time that the world saw in 2020. And all of this has led us to where we are now, where the rate of change has just seemed to accelerate. And this graph shows that perfectly. I'm showing on this graph here a few sets. I've picked Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, Destined Rivals, and now Phantasmal Flames. And if you look at the graph, what we typically saw, even with the two best era sets from Sword and Shield in Fusion Strike and Evolving Skies being number one and Fusion Strike being number two, is that even Evolving Skies took a while over time. It took a few years to really start to accelerate. Fusion Strike actually lay dormant for several years post-release before it started to see major gains. Now, fast forward to now, and what do we see? Even Phantasmal Flames seems to be, clipping at the heels of a much better, more nostalgic set like Destined Rivals. It's an insane amount of acceleration. And you look at the sets and you go, how on earth has Phantasmal Flames outperformed Evolving Skies in its first 9 months? It just makes no sense because it is not the set that Evolving Skies is. And there's a few takeaways from all of this. One is, and I've spoken about this in other videos, but again, I haven't delved into it. One is that the position of the seller has completely changed. Previously, sets of course come out, they go through distribution through to stores, whether it's physical brick and mortar stores or online stores, and they get sold to the public. And they get sold at a markup over the price, of course, distribution sells it to those stores. Now that markup depends on, I guess, a lot of things. Some stores will go, I just want to sell at the recommended retail price of this product. Other stores will sell sometimes below if demand is not there for the product, and sometimes above if there's lots of demand for that product. Now, I'm not to say I don't have a store. I know what it's like selling products. I've been selling motor cars forever and a day. So I know what it's like. Sometimes you need to take the good with the bad and roll with the punches. Sometimes you deserve to make more profit as a store off certain products because sometimes you've got to give them away and take losses on certain products. That's what the retail world is like. But now it's getting scalped, it's getting botted, it's getting taken from stores, and it's moving to the secondary market straight away. And I've talked about this in the past, back when I was doing videos at the start of Scarlet and Violet era, at the end of Sword and Shield era, and we were talking about the reason Fusion Strike was about to jump up in price so rapidly, and I was saying invest in Fusion Strike, invest in Fusion Strike, invest in Fusion Strike, was because you could see that primary stores had nearly sold out of the product and it was about to move into the hands of the secondary market. And that's when Fusion Strike was about to jump from, $140 to $150 box to a $300 box overnight. And that's what's happening straight away with sets like Destined Rivals and Phantasmal Flames, because they're moving from that primary seller, the brick and mortar stores, the online stores, straight to the secondary market. And it's happening like that. It's not taking 3 years like it used to with Fusion Strike. It's happening straight away. And you've almost got to reposition your thinking around investing, because the good side is, and this is where I wanted to bring in the good points, if you can buy something at retail, you are getting gains like that. Like you are literally 3xing, 4xing in some cases, your profit instantly. Like, what an insane return. What else can you do that in? And that's where scalpers flood into the market and steal I shouldn't say our product, but they steal the product as a whole to resell because they can make that quick flip. Now that's great if you want to do that and you can get your hands on product. But the other side of the coin is, and here's where it's not good, is most people don't have access to that. Most people don't want to do that. Most people don't want to camp outside, fight other people off for product once it drops at a store. That doesn't sound like fun in my eyes at all. Most people also don't want to set up bots online to try and rig the system. Most people just want to get what they can get at retail price in a fair way. It's a few that wreck it for the many, in my eyes. Now, with that though, if in this market, like you can't go to your local gaming store, even though this set's been out for 8 months, you can't go and buy Phantasmal Flames. You just can't. It doesn't exist. You just can't buy it. Like it is unfortunately not there. The only way for you to buy it is to buy it off the secondary market. And here's where the bad part comes in. So Fusion Strike, 2 years after release, you could still invest in it and go, well, this is going to be good. I could buy 100 booster boxes if I wanted to. You could have bought 100 booster boxes if you'd wanted to. And it's good because you go, well, hold on, if I buy lots of booster boxes of Fusion Strike, there's every chance it's about to move off the primary market soon. You know, maybe it's about to sell out on Pokemon Center. Maybe most brick and mortar stores are about to sell out of it. And then it's going to be in the hands of the secondary market, and then I can ride these massive waves up. You can't do that now. We've just gone over that. That's the bad part of it now. You cannot buy Phantasmal Flames anywhere online, brick and mortar, Pokemon Center. It just does not exist. And there's one more thing I think you can take from this graph that is separate to the rate of change and how quickly and rapidly the Pokemon investing space is changing, is this. So I'm going to bring another set up on the screen here. This is the exact same image, but we're just layering over Plasma Storm. So if we put Plasma Storm on there and we go all the way back to when it launched back in 2013, it took a long, long time for Plasma Storm, which is a great set. There's 2 secret rares inside there, both Charizard and Blastoise. The Charizard is a beautiful secret rare. I love the gold borders the secret rares had from Black and White era. That Charizard from Plasma Storm goes for big, big money in a PSA 10. Not easy to grade, it has quite a low population, but nonetheless, a very nice set with some stellar chase cards inside it. It still took a while to go up in price, but what you'll notice is changes in acceleration on price. I talked about the change in acceleration of Fusion Strike as soon as it moved off that primary market to the secondary market, and we can notice changes in prices for lots of sets, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Even Team Up, it's funny, there's sets that have, I suppose, community sentiment, and if we talk about community sentiment at a level, like level 1 is just no one wants it. So it's like, oh, you know, sets like Steam Siege, that people go, that is just a garbage set, I don't want it, there's no good chase cards inside it, nah. It's going to sit at a pretty low price for a while and slowly creep up, but still become expensive because it's Pokemon and it's going to become a sealed collectible in its own right and it'll still go up. Then there's other sets that come out of the gate like Evolving Skies and just fly. And there's other sets like Destined Rivals that come out of the gate and just fly because people know it's got good chase cards inside it. People want it. People want to rip it open. Same thing will happen with Prismatic Evolutions. Same thing will happen with Ascended Heroes. And then there's other sets where acceleration changes. You can see with Plasma Storm here, the rate of acceleration change at the end there. Like I remember back in 2020 and even early 2021, you could pick up Plasma Storm booster boxes for about $2,000 to $3,000 US. And then all of a sudden, the rate of change just went through the roof. And Fusion Strike is another great example. And Team Up, like I mentioned, and it comes from this community sentiment level. One, I was just talking about being meh, don't like the chase cards, don't want it, but sometimes community sentiment for a set can change. And what happens is the chase cards change. People all of a sudden, the community I mean, they realize I really want these chase cards. And all of a sudden, I don't know whether you'd call it FOMO or just a change in community perception, but even like the Lovebirds from Team Up, that was a cheap card in relative terms when it first came out. Another example, the Sword and Shield UPC, it was community sentiment towards it when it came out is it has been printed into the absolute ground. It is absolutely everywhere. The 3 Charizards were worth like, you know, $35 to $40 US combined for all 3. And now you can't buy one of them for under 100 US dollars. The community sentiment towards that product has completely changed, as can the chase cards inside sets. So we don't always know straight out of the gate exactly how a sealed product is going to perform. That's why it's great to diversify sometimes. But that's the other point, or the final point I wanted to make off exploring this graph today. So 2 things to take away from this video. The latter one being that there is or can be a massive rate of change for sealed products. You might well be holding something for 3 years thinking it hasn't moved, then all of a sudden, bang, a couple of chase cards might take off. You know, think about Bubble Mew and the impact that's going to have on Paldean Fate's sealed product. And the second takeaway, which is the main premise of this video, is just how quickly the rate of change sealed products has done. So if we're talking Sword and Shield versus Scarlet and Violet versus now Mega Evolution, the rate of change is rapid. Price over time is accelerating. I'm Michael, this is PokeOz. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll catch you all next time.